All right, guys, this is going to be a big one. Custom long travel suspension for a Camaro and a new personality on the GSP channel. What's going on over here? All right, everybody freak out. I'm not going anywhere. Can't get rid of me that easy. We're just adding. So, in the next couple episodes, hopefully at some point, I have a couple of new guys that I want to introduce to you guys that have been following along the GSP channel because they're going to be on here a lot more often. And you've heard of me referring to Rob, and you've heard of me saying we quite often whenever I'm talking about decisions that we make at the racetrack. And so this episode is really going to be heavy on Rob and what Rob's doing. Rob is the owner and driver of the GSP mascot car Gator. It just so happens that he happened to have a green car, and it just so happened that my shorts were green, and we kind of came together and formed a partnership, and we've been using his car to do most of this stuff too. And he's crazy enough to listen to my ideas and reap the benefits of them because they're all awesome, and he'll laugh at that. This is going to be Rob's updates for Gator after 2024 going into 2025. Yeah, what he makes is something that you can buy, but that's not how we do things around here. We do things my way's the better way kind of way of doing things. So we like to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. Sometimes it's for the better, sometimes it's not, but we have fun and learn how to do things the entire time. And that's what it's all about. I'm trying to learn things so that I can come and teach them to anybody on the interwebs that wants to listen. Without further ado, here is Rob taking it over, and he is going to explain to you guys exactly what he's doing for the 2025 season to the front suspension on Gator. Big updates that are going to hopefully reap lots of speed. Take it away, Rob.
All right, so I'm out here with Gator. I've been working on the front suspension. Our goal was to gain more travel. We found out we're only working with about 1 inch of travel. And so I've made my own tubular upper control arm. I've got the TRZ Motorsports valved AFCO installed, and I have managed to gain 3 inches of travel. So we should have a total of 4 inches of travel on the front suspension now. So now I'm gonna take you to the left side of the car and show y'all what I did. So there it is apart. It's pretty simple to take apart, except for this time the upper ball joint wanted to fight me, so I had to beat on it a little bit. So looking at our travel issue, the issue actually comes from that lightweight spindle has a 2 inch drop, and the car is still pretty heavy, so I had to put a lot of rounds to get ride height. Therefore, I basically lost 2 inches of travel just from the spindle. So looking at it, the factory bushing only travels so far before they kind of lock out. And then the next limit is the way that ball joint is in the spindle. It travels out and hits the back. So I'll show you what I did to fix both those. It might not be right, but it seems like it's gonna work pretty well on the other side. Okay, here we go. Start with the upper. What I did here, I obviously took the ball joint out so I could get it sitting flat on the table in the front. I broke loose the 2 bolts so that the top would swivel back. I welded this piece to the table along that flat edge, and this piece to the table along this flat edge to have something to butt it up against. Then I welded this back to this tube, which is also welded to the table, so it can't move. So I already got the tubes cut with the bungs welded in them for the heim joints. They're 1/2-20 heim joints with 1/2-inch monowell. The bungs I actually bought. They are All-Star, who sells them. The tubing is 1-inch 90 wall chrome ollie. So they are going to replace the arms. And all I did, and I'll show you, is basically eyeball it and mark it there and there and cut a straight line to cut the arm off. And then I stick the heim joint in there, put it on the bolt, lay the tube down, and then weld it along the edge there. And that's basically all there is to it. Guess I'll start cutting on this and show you what I did. Okay, both arms cut off. Back of my little fixture, spacers in there, bolt. This side is loose, needs to be welded on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Like last time, take the bolts out, take it unclamped, flip it over, finish welding it, get some of the tougher reach spots. And there we go. Both sides fully welded, back into the fixture, butt it up against here, up there. Bolts are in place. I didn't put the spacers back in because I was lazy. I'm gonna let it cool. I'm gonna cut these points off to make it look a little better, prime it, paint it, and then I'll show you. I'll put the shock clevis mounted up here, and then I'll show you getting it back in the car. So I got the top piece broke off of the tube that I had it welded to. I ground all that off, and I'm gonna weld this shock clevis that I've actually been using on the car for years. I made it and bolted through that rubber piece. I'm gonna weld it to here. I know it sits at a weird angle, but when it's in the car on the shock tower, it's actually straight, so it works out. When you go to weld this, don't do like I did to start. Make sure you have a good ground. It won't ground well through the paint. Alright, so there you go. Shock clevis welded on. I tried to line the back up with the back of the, I guess, part of the bolts to the shock tower. That way it's somewhat straight. Now I'm gonna paint this, and I'll probably start working on the blower while all this dries. Alright, here's the part where someone's probably gonna tell me I'm an idiot. Don't care. I said earlier when I took this apart that one of the limiting factors was how far the ball joint travels. It travels out right here against the back of it. And the angle on the spindle has this sitting at an angle already. So what I did on the other one, and what I'm about to do on this one, is I'm gonna cut the gussets off. I'm gonna slit it from the backside, almost all the way through, and I'm gonna tilt this another 10 degrees, and that will help this knot travel out. Now y'all can tell me I'm an idiot, that's fine. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's not, but the car's about to get run this way, so let me show you how I did it. There we go. All ground down, gussets ground out of it. I got it slit almost all the way through. I take and measure the angle here across the cup. Grab it here, roll it down 10 degrees, and then weld that all back up. Re-gusset it, it should be good to go. Okay, so I've taken it from 18 degrees to 27 degrees. It's close enough to 10 degrees, and I wasn't gonna push my luck. As you see, it's a pretty big gap. Last time on the other side, I took a piece, and I filled what I could with this, what I needed to with this piece, and welded it all up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Here we are, back over at the car. I got both control arms done, ball joint back in. In the end, I'm probably gonna have to replace all the ball joints. I mean, I welded on both lowers with the ball joint in place because I didn't want to make the cup out of round or something, so I just left it in. I'll have to press it out, put a new one in. But they're done, ready to go back in. So when I did the right side of the car, I got to this point and I thought that I had gained the travel that I wanted, and I realized that I did not gain but about an inch, which was okay. But I sat and thought, like, what could I do to gain some more here? And so I took a lug nut spacer that I had laying on the floor, which was 1.125 inches, and I put it above here to space this off of the shock tower. And that gained me 2 more inches for a total of 3 inches of travel. Then I had to make something real, not a lug nut spacer. So I went and visited my buddy and asked if I could borrow his water jet. And I made this piece out of a scrap piece of 1.25 inches, which is that pattern right there. So I installed that above the right side to gain that extra travel. So when I put this side back together, that's going in there. Okay, now I'm showered, I have all the grinder dust off me from my least favorite tool in the whole shop that I use all the time. I figured I'd talk about why I went and did all this work. My first problem with the car, I'd say, would be the front shocks weren't sufficient. They were a Summit brand double adjustable that Aaron had that we threw on here, and they were better than the single adjustable Strange that we had on. So we rolled with it while it was a nitrous car, and it worked. With more power, we started having the problem where the front was coming up too fast, and it was maxed out on both sides, so we had no control. And then the other problem was, with only 1 inch of travel, it would, I guess you could say, top out so fast that it would then unload the rear tires, and next thing you know, I'm pointing at the wall. Hopefully now we have more control. Well, I know we'll have more control, and hopefully that travel helps transfer weight, and we can start getting the 60-foot times down where they should be. I mean, we did We were consistent low 130s. We went a best 127, I believe. But we need to cut time there if we're gonna hit our goal in the long run. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Feel free to comment and tell me why this isn't gonna work. Obviously, I have to realign the whole front end because it's far from right at this point, but we'll get it back right. Like, subscribe, comment, and thanks for watching.